The mayor, Rob Ford, still hasn't said much of anything about a video that allegedly shows him smoking crack cocaine. Of course, the CBC has not seen this video. It isn't able to verify any of those claims. The mayor, though, isn't the only one who's been dealing with the fallout from this story. The Toronto Star's initial article last week described the men trying to sell the video as, quote, Somali men involved in the drug trade. That description, as you can imagine, has upset some people within this city's Somali community. They're unhappy about the role ethnicity has played in this story. Joining us to discuss why is social worker Jibril Mohamud. He is on the line with us. Jibril, good morning.
Good morning, Matt.
Also on the line with us is Ahmed Hussein, National President of the Canadian Somali Congress. Ahmed, good morning to you.
Good morning, Matt.
Ahmed, your thoughts, if you would, first on the news outlets, including initially the Toronto Star, including the ethnicity of the men apparently involved in this video.
Well, we found that to be very odd and unusual because normally ethnicity is not referred to by the Star or any other newspaper when they're discussing other individuals that are alleged to have committed crimes. I don't hear of the Toronto Star. I haven't read the Toronto Star referring to biker gangs as European biker gangs or individuals alleged to have committed corruptions in Quebec to be referred to as French. I'm not suggesting that that should happen. In fact, I'm trying to show the absurdity of referring to the alleged individuals as Somali drug dealers instead of just calling them drug dealers.
So in addition to being surprised and shocked, you actually went one step further. What did you do to try and address this?
Well, we contacted the reporter on the story. That didn't get us far, and we then had to contact the editor of the Toronto Star. And after a few discussions, I'm happy to say that he was very responsive to our concerns.
And so what does that mean, responsive to your concerns?
Well, he removed all the references to the ethnicity of the individuals from the subsequent articles that followed the original article.
And does that satisfy you?
I mean, no, because the cat is out of the bag. I mean, the damage is already done, but I mean, something is better than nothing. At least we were happy that he was sensitive to our concerns and that he didn't dismiss them and that he went and did what he could to mitigate the damage.
I want to come back to you in just a moment and talk further about the damage that's there. Jibril, from your perspective, in your own world, but also as a community worker, what are you hearing about these allegations and about the way that ethnicity has been introduced into these allegations?
Thanks, Matt. Basically, it's been very traumatic for the community. Since this story broke, it's been very hurtful to the community in general. And on two fronts. On one front is the issue of ethnicity, as Ahmed addressed it. And on the other front is regarding the mayor of this city. Mr. Rob Ford is very well known to this community. And over 2 decades, he's been their representative. And in the first decade and first few years, we had a lot of issues with him regarding representation. But as time went by, Mr. Rawford got the trust and the confidence of the community. And I was working for the opposing camp in the last election. And we saw how much traction he has within the community and how much respect he has gathered over the years. And a lot of people consider him a tireless worker for the community and representative for the community. So that is also hurting the community a lot.
If people consider him a tireless worker, what do they make of these allegations? Again, I haven't seen this tape. We haven't seen this tape. We don't know what the tape shows or whether the tape even exists. But what are people saying about the allegations and the controversy that's swirled around?
Overwhelming the majority of the community is rooting for him. They're hoping this tape doesn't exist and it's not true. And if this tape turns out to be true and the allegations true, then it's another blow to the community because Rob Ford, contrary to what most people think in this city, he's done a pretty good job for the community.
Ahmed, you talked about the damage that introducing ethnicity into the story has had on the community. What is that damage as you see it?
Well, the giving anonymity to the individuals who approached the Star came at the cost of essentially tarring the rest of the community by associating drug dealing with the ethnicity of Somali, there is an implicit suggestion that this is something that most of us do, and nothing could be further from the truth. And people take cues from this. There is a Spanish newspaper that was published that a friend of mine translated for me that says that claims that most of the drug trade in Toronto is controlled by the Somali community, because they were using the Toronto Star as a jumping point. I saw another paper internationally that describes the video as a Somali video. Now the video is Somali. I mean, can you imagine the absurdity of using ethnicity? And this is what it gets to. And so when I used the term European biker gang to the editor of the Toronto Star, he then got my point, because it shows, nobody would think of using that term, but it becomes normal to use it in the Somali context because we're not viewed as citizens. And this is the point I'm trying to make about integration.
And this is a point that you and I have spoken about several times in past, is about the lack of integration, or at least the lack of a sense of welcoming that some particularly young Somali men feel when it comes to larger Canadian society. So how could something like this exacerbate that?
It exacerbates this because, the community is tarred by an association with criminality when there's no such thing. I have to also say we have to also take responsibility as a community. We don't do enough to assert our sense of Canadian identity. We most of the time accept the term Somali without the other context of saying Somali Canadian. And I think that's also very important.
And so is brushing these accusations, or at least brushing back the word Somali being associated with these accusations, part of that assertive nature, do you think?
Yes, absolutely. One more thing, by the mayor being silent on this issue, we've become the subject. And so I think if the mayor, as a public official, addressed these concerns one way or the other, I think it would lessen the burden that we've had to carry on this story. It's really unfortunate.
All right, more on this perhaps in the days and weeks to come. Ahmed, good to talk to you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
And Jibril, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.